I welcome you to the National Air Quality Forum. My name is Lilian Owanziga Mupende. I'm from the Global Green Growth Institute, and I'll be your moderator for today's very auspicious event. I would like to also welcome those joining us virtually. We are glad that you're able to make time to be a part of this great event. Without taking too much time, we are all gathered here for the National Air Quality Forum, a forum that has been organized by the Rwanda Environment Management Authority in celebration of the International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies. This is an event that has been established or organized by the United Nations in observance of the critical role that clean air plays in supporting human health, ecosystems, and sustainable development. It's truly a privilege for all of us to have an organization or organizations that prioritize clean air for us, that ensure that, you know, wherever you are doing sports, in your environment at home, in your environment at work, in your environment on the streets, that you are benefiting from clean air as a result of their extensive initiatives. Today's session is under the theme Together for Clean Air. And as we speak of Together for Clean Air, they are emphasizing the need for stronger partnerships, increased investment, and shared responsibility for overcoming air pollution. Without taking too much time, please allow me to share with you our agenda today. We've had a few changes to the agenda. We will be starting with the welcome remarks from the Director General of REMA, followed by remarks virtually presented by the representative of Climate and Clean Air Coalition. These will be followed by the opening remarks of the Honorable Minister of State. Following that, we will have the National Regulatory Framework on Air Quality in Rwanda, presented by REMA. Thereafter, we'll take a short coffee break, during which we invite you to have a chance to visit the showcase at the back of the room. We have very good private sector players, government initiatives that have introduced very innovative solutions to address the issue of air pollution. Following that, we will have a short video on Rwanda's initiatives to overcome air pollution and a very interesting panel discussion that will explore these strategic partnerships towards air quality improvement in Rwanda. We will then follow that with the session of Q&A and closing remarks from the DG of REMA. Thank you all for making the time to be here and to be here on time. I'd like to take this opportunity to then invite the Director General of REMA to make her welcome remarks. Thank you.
Honorable Minister of State for the Environment, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed, good morning. Madam Tse. It's a pleasure to be here with you today to celebrate the International Day of Air for Blue Skies. The event was adopted by the UN General Assembly and designated to be celebrated every year on 7th September. This is the fourth time that we celebrate this day. And the essence of us celebrating this day is actually not to simply meet. It's about us to reflect on the quality of the air that we breathe. What are we doing about it in our different capacities, government, businesses and individuals, non-governmental organizations, academia, name it. We all have a role to play. And in today's forum, we just want to come, reflect, and see what are we not doing right, what are we doing right, so we celebrate that as well, and get out of here with renewed commitment to do what we are not exactly doing to the level at which we are supposed to be doing it. The theme of this year, as Lilian has already alluded to it, is the it's Together for Clean Air. Again, this emphasizes the need for our joint collaboration in this journey because it's worthwhile. We have seen a lot of studies that show us the premature deaths that we are encountering because of breathing the polluted air. And we cannot just sit and read the literature, read the studies. We just need to do something. Honorable Minister of State, we want to remind ourselves about the different policies that the government has taken, different laws, regulations, incentives that have been put in place for us to adopt the best available technology on market in all across the spectrum, be it in the transport sector, in the cooking, anywhere that we have available technology and the government is offering us incentives, we are encouraged to go for them. This is an awareness platform, and we believe that we are all going to be ambassadors to disseminate the information that we are going to share in this forum. Allow me to appreciate our partners that we work with. We work with a number of them on a local level. I don't want to come up with names so I don't forget any of them. But I know that in the enforcement journey, Rwanda National Police is one of those that we partner in enforcing different regulations. And when it comes to the air quality monitoring, they are operating the roadworthiness test control technique. And in here, the quality of the emissions from the vehicles is also tested. And if you are not meeting the standards, you're not allowed to get the certificate. So you again advised to go back for more maintenance until you reach the level of quality that we need to see on the roads. To bring the right solutions are all appreciated, and we can only demand for more because the quality that we have is not at the level that we want it to be. I think if you're following the air quality index, I hope you all do, because it's available online. You see that sometimes we are really off track, and this is not good for our health. For the international partners, we are working closely with the United Nations Environment Programme. We are working closely with the CCSC. I hope we'll get an opportunity to hear from them. We are working with the General UN Fraternity to try and share the data and other resources, including but not limited to building the capacity of the institution to be able to monitor the air. So last but not least, obviously, is the entire Rwandan community, which we do all this for us because we're part of the community. We appreciate that they take our advice, our communications seriously, and we continue to encourage every Rwandan or citizens of Rwanda to say no to staying in areas that are polluted, because this is not good for our health, and it affects negatively our economic development. So without further ado, allow me to again appreciate your participation, coming on time, and looking forward to active discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those welcome remarks, DG. I'll just pick out a few quick, very important things to remember. We have a lot of premature deaths resulting from poor air quality, so this touches each and every one of us individually. It's not just about REMA as an institution or its partners. So it's key for us to take advantage of the air quality index and understand why are areas polluted. It's an online tool that's accessible to all, so please make sure you do log on to it and understand what is causing the level of pollution, and then you play your role as an individual, but also as institutions. Without taking much more time, I'll kindly ask our colleagues at the sound system to please play the remarks from the climate. Sorry, give me a second. I want to make sure I get it right. Yes. Please play the remarks from the representative from the Climate and Clean Air Coalition, following which I will then invite the Honorable Minister of State of the Ministry of Environment to make her opening remarks. Thank you.
Poor air quality is considered the world's single largest environmental health.
Good morning, can you hear me? I just want to make sure that you can hear me.
Good morning. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Please do proceed. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. So, Your Excellency, Honorable Minister, Director General, Madam Kabera, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and fellow advocates for clean air, thank you very much for having me here today as we gather to commemorate the International Day of Clean Air for Blue Sky. It's an honor to stand before you as a representative of the Climate and Clean Air Coalition. And I want to express my deep appreciation to the government of Rwanda for organizing this National Air Quality Forum. The primary objective that unites us today is bringing together stakeholders from diverse sectors to join forces in the fight against air pollution. As we have heard also before, air pollution is one of the greatest environmental risks to health. In 2019, 99% of the world's population was living in places where the WHO air quality guidelines levels were not met. The combined effects of ambient air pollution and household air pollution are associated with 6.7 million premature deaths annually. Ambient outdoor air pollution is estimated to have caused 4.2 million premature deaths worldwide in 2019. In 2019, across Africa, more than 1 million died prematurely due to exposure to air pollution. Very sadly, this includes 385,000 children under the age of 5. Also, the economic implications are huge. In 2021, according to a study by the World Bank, air pollution was responsible for 8.1 trillion in healthcare costs, or 6.1% of global GDP. In 2021, the WHO updated its ambient air quality guidelines for the protection of human health. These guidelines are stricter and reduce the concentration of air pollution that WHO recommends for countries to protect their population from the negative effects of air pollution. These guidelines also strengthen the possibility to link climate action to local air pollution benefits. These two issues of air pollution and climate change are very closely linked because the main sources of greenhouse gases are also the main sources of air pollutant emissions. These linkages mean that there is an opportunity to achieve local health benefits from climate change mitigation actions by designing integrated strategies that simultaneously reduce greenhouse gases, air pollutants, and short-lived climate pollutants, with the overarching benefits to also enable adaptation to climate change, enable resilience, and reduce vulnerability. For example, globally it has been estimated that 1 million premature deaths could be avoided by 2050 if the world collectively reduced emissions in line with the goals of the Paris Agreement. And an integrated approach to tackling air pollution and climate could result in avoiding up to 2.4 million premature deaths annually by 2030. In 2022, the Climate and Clean Air Coalition, together with UNEP and the African Union Commission, released the first landmark integrated assessment of climate and clean air for sustainable development in Africa, an assessment that was conducted by African scientists for African people. This assessment main conclusion is opportunity. It's a huge opportunity on the continent to continue developing sustainably, to improve human well-being, to protect nature by investing in solutions to fight climate change and air pollution together, acting in 5 key areas. These are transport, waste, agriculture, residential, and energy. These solutions exist, and the assessment identifies 37 air quality measures with co-benefits for a range of air pollutants, short-lived climate pollutants, and greenhouse gases, beneficial to health, crops, and climate. The implementation has the potential to avoid 50% of methane emissions compared to the reference scenarios by 2030 and 70% by 2063. There is a potential to contribute to the Africa 2063 agenda to prevent around 800,000 premature deaths by 2063, and also to prevent the loss of 11% of wheat yields in certain regions in Africa, and to weaken the effects of climate change, so with a positive impact on adaptation. As the Climate and Clean Air Coalition, we are committed to working with Rwanda and our 23 country partners across Africa to carry out these recommendations towards the objective of Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. Our key messages today revolve around 3 fundamental principles. As we heard, stronger partnerships, shared responsibilities, and increased investment. On stronger partnerships and shared responsibility, let me emphasize the Climate and Clean Air Coalition. This is a partnership of more than 180 stakeholders, and it's the only organization that is focused on reducing short-lived climate pollutants. These include black carbon, methane, and hydrofluorocarbons, and that works really on this interlinkage between air quality and climate change. The CCAC is committed to turning ambition into action, to supporting national policies and regulations, into amplifying the voices of political leadership across the continent, and calling for dramatic increases in climate and clean air finance. We are collaborating closely with the African Union Commission and country partners on the creation of an Africa Clean Air Program as one of the endorsed recommendations of the integrated assessment. We are also currently developing a clean air flagship to provide a global voice on solutions to air pollution by elevating ongoing regional collaboration and also by providing direct support to countries. So the aim is to really strengthen this integrated approach to climate and cleaner action. And this flagship will be launched at COP28, and we would like to invite Rwanda to join this global initiative. On increased investment, it is crucial that we promote increased funding for research, technological innovation, and projects to reduce emissions. Together with our partners in the CCC, we are working to catalyze finance for short-lived climate pollutant reduction, including development assistance for air quality management, which currently accounts for less than 1% of ODA flows. We are also exploring innovative finance mechanisms, for example, to scale up electric cooking, seeking to unlock investments by generating high-quality carbon credits for electric cooking. Also, right now we are having the Africa Climate Summit, and here the ongoing discussions are highlighting also the importance of the Article 6 mechanisms for enhancing SLCP mitigation efforts. We can accelerate progress towards cleaner air and healthier environment by leveraging these international cooperation tools. So the CCAC is very proud to have called Rwanda a partner since 2016, working together to reduce short-lived climate pollutants. In the spirit of collaboration, I'm pleased to announce that the CCAC is supporting the government of Rwanda in the development of an integrated national short-lived climate pollutants action plan and of a national methane roadmap. This project that is right now that's about to start with the collaboration of RIMA and the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences will not only contribute to cleaner air, but will also contribute to Rwanda's climate commitments and inform Rwanda's 2025 NDC update. In conclusion, we stand at a critical juncture in our fight against air pollution. The battle against air pollution is not a choice, it's a necessity. The longer we wait, the greater the cost to our planet and our well-being. And pollution travels with no borders. This is why we need to address it as a regional and transboundary issue. As we convene here today for the National Air Quality Forum, let us continue to work collaboratively to improve air quality, safeguard public health, and mitigate the effects of climate change for the benefit of Africa. Together we can make a difference, and we can ensure that every day is a clean air day. Thank you very much for your attention, and let's get to work.
Very much for those great remarks. Again, she emphasized the fact that air pollution is resulting in 4.2 million deaths as a link to exposure to air pollution. In 2019, 99% of us were actually residing in areas that are not encouraged by WHO. That's quite scaring to think about. She also highlighted $8 trillion in healthcare costs. Imagine if we're able to invest that amount in mitigation and adaptation rather than in healthcare costs, it would have significant impact. She's emphasized the need for collective and collaborative initiatives towards dealing with air pollution, and has emphasized that pollution is without borders. You cannot limit pollution. You cannot say we will only pollute in Rwanda, we will only pollute in Kenya. What happens in one community, in one country, cuts across the entire globe. We acknowledge the support that they've given to Rwanda Environment Management Authority to establish the Integrated National SLCP Plan and the National Methane Roadmap, and we believe that this is going to be very critical to the achievements that Rwanda as a government has for dealing with air pollution. Please allow me to take this opportunity then to invite our Honorable Minister of State for the Ministry of Environment to make her opening remarks. You're welcome.
Thank you, moderator. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed, good morning. I'm pleased to join you today to celebrate the International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies, a day dedicated for raising awareness about the importance of clean air and the need for collective action to combat air pollution. This year, we gather under the theme, as it was highlighted, Together for Clean Air, emphasizing our shared responsibility in overcoming this pressing issue. Air pollution is a global challenge that affects the health and well-being of millions of people worldwide. It poses significant risk to human health, ecosystems, and economy. World Health Organization estimates that both ambient and household air pollution are responsible for about 7 million deaths globally per year. The detrimental effects of air pollution are not limited by borders or boundaries. They transcend geographical locations and impact us all. Therefore, it's imperative that we join forces and work together to address this critical issue. Exposure to air pollutant is strongly correlated with increased mortality and morbidity caused by cardiovascular and respiratory disease in Rwanda. According to the 2020 report of the Rwandan Ministry of Health, respiratory diseases were the main cause of morbidity in Rwanda in 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, Rwanda's commitment to addressing air pollution is evident through various initiatives, such as promoting electric mobility, fiscal and non-fiscal incentives accorded to electric vehicles and their accessories, reducing dependence to biomass for cooking by promoting alternative, cleaner source of energy, the use of renewable energy sources like solar power and hydropower, implementing strict emissions standards for vehicles, enhancing waste management practices, and encouraging public transportation systems. Furthermore, the law governing the preservation of air quality and prevention of air pollution in Rwanda provide for the establishment of air quality standards that regulate emissions of air pollutants from different sources contributing to air pollution. However, there is still much work to be done. Practical steps such as commitment to promote and use public transport, cycling or walking short distance, and participation in car-free days do make a difference. Today's observance underscores the need for strong partnerships across key sectors and levels of government. Collaboration between governments, civil society organizations, private sector entities, and individuals is essential to effectively tackle air pollution. The government of Rwanda has made significant strides in this journey. More than 20 air quality monitoring stations have been installed across the country. In this recent past, e-mobility has grown significantly through the presence of new actions in the sale of e-vehicles, the introduction of tax breaks of e-vehicle buyers, among others. We also recognize the investment of our development partners and the private sector in introducing new and advanced technologies in clean cooking and waste management. Increased investment are crucial in our pursuit of clean air. Adequate funding is required for support research and development of innovative technologies that reduce emissions, promote renewable energy sources, enhance air quality, monitoring systems, and implement effective policies. It's also important to note that investing in clean air initiative not only benefit public health, but also contributes to sustainable development goals by mitigating climate change impacts. Ladies and gentlemen, celebration of the International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies is an opportunity to make tougher pledges to be sustainable in our production and consumption and strengthen our partnerships towards air quality improvement. I therefore call upon all stakeholders present here today to strengthen our collaboration and redouble our efforts in combating air pollution. Let us work hand in hand to develop and implement our effective policies, raise awareness among the public, and encourage sustainable practices that contribute to clean air for blue skies. In conclusion, I want to take this opportunity to thank our exhibitors, panelists, and all participants here present to your support and dedication. By working together, we can overcome air pollution and create an environment where clean air is a fundamental right to all. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much for those great opening remarks, Honorable Minister of State. I'll start with the last statement, fundamental right to have clean air. Each of us as individuals, but also as institutions, we hold the responsibility to guarantee this fundamental right to clean air. We started with very scaring welcome remarks showing us the risk of death, the risk of loss of economy, loss of biodiversity because of air pollution. But what better way to start our discussions today, taking into account what the government of Rwanda has already done and continues to do. The Minister of State highlighted that we have both fiscal and non-fiscal incentives for e-mobility. We are already working collaboratively with the private sector and development partners to reduce dependence on biomass and shift to cleaner cooking. We are encouraging the use of renewable energy, and we have very strict emission standards that are being enforced across the country. As part of this, she highlighted that we already have 20 air quality monitoring stations. I, again, advise or seek, or indulge you all to get onto the air quality monitoring system and see what the impact of these stations is. It communicates to you the quality of the air in the area that you're either residing in or going to do your sports in or going to partake in any activity. She also recognized the fact that we are collaborating on new and advanced technologies in clean cooking. But most importantly, she said today is an opportunity for us to have collective and tougher commitments, collective and tougher measures to deal with the issue of air pollution. So while Rwanda has advanced significantly as a country and continues to contribute to global commitments, we are still far behind from what we desire to achieve, and several initiatives have been put in place. As partners here, we are called to answer to these challenging initiatives and ensure that we actually pull our weight in dealing with air pollution. Thank you once again, Honorable Minister of State, for those very challenging and very insightful remarks. At this point, please allow me to then invite our next speaker, Celeste Hakizimana, who will be making the presentation on the National Regulatory Framework on Air Quality in Rwanda. Celeste? Thank you very much.
Honorable Minister of State for Environment, distinguished guests. So my name is Celestine, and allow me to present to you the air quality status in Rwanda and the regulatory framework that the government has put in place for air quality management. So next. So from the study done by Rwanda Environment Management Authority in 2018, so those are the cause of air pollution highlighted in Rwanda. So most of them are from the vehicle emissions, industrial emissions, cooking using woods, and the improper management of waste. So the effect of air pollution is also on the quality of life for our population. So we have loss of life and some respiratory disease, including cardiovascular disease. So this is the pyramid of effect from air pollution from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. So the air pollution is a serious issue, as highlighted by the previous speakers. So we have seen the number of deaths caused by air pollution, but also as the pyramid shows, we have the other effect of air pollution on human health, from death to attending medicals, heart attack, visiting doctors, respiratory symptoms, and some lung infections. So our country's economy rely on tourism, servicing, meeting, and incentives. So this sector is mostly affected by air pollution. This is why the government of Rwanda has put in different effort to control and manage air pollution in Rwanda. So those are the data taken from our air quality monitoring station showing the status of air pollution in Rwanda. So in 2022, the monthly concentration of air pollution in Rwanda for particulate matter PM10 has exceeded the national air quality standard limit for most of the cities in Rwanda and little area with busy activities. Also, for particulate matters with 2.5 micrometers, we have exceeded our national air quality standard limit for those cities. Most of the stations are in Kigali, and those secondary cities and little areas with busy activities. So from our measurements, we have seen that we exceeded our national air quality standard limit for those cities. And in urban areas, we are complying with our national air quality status. So it means that urban areas are more polluted than little areas. So the monitoring of Rwanda National Environment Management shows that we have serious issue of air pollution on particulate matters, because when we look on pollution of gases like SO2 and NO2, so we are complying with our national air quality status for both urban areas and rural areas. So this is the behavior of our seasons when we look on air quality index. So we have from good to hazardous. Then the study shows that we have a bad air quality in dry seasons from June to August, and then it's decreased in rainfall seasons from March to May. This is the behavior of our daily situation when we look on particulate matters as the pollutant of concern. So we have high pollution of particulate matter in rush hours in the morning from 5 p.m. to 10, and then again from 11 or 5 p.m. to 9. So to see when people are going and coming back to work. And this is where we have also in a little area the cooking activities and the agricultural activities, so which includes open burnings. So in general, the pure air quality is constantly as observed in both dry seasons, and we have high pollution in morning rush hours and the evenings. So day-to-day variation of air pollution are hard to predict, so except in weekends where we have low concentration of air pollution. So the government of Rwanda has put a lot of initiative in air pollution management and control. So those are our registered success in air quality management. So they include the regulatory framework. We have the law of 2018 on environment, so which determine the modalities for protecting, conserving, and promoting the environment. So specific article in this law are for the prevention and mitigation of air and chemical pollution. So we have a specific law of 2016 governing the preservation of air quality and prevention of air pollution in Rwanda. So this law determines the modality of preservation of air quality and prevention of air pollution. So we have also the ministerial order of 2018 relating to air pollutant emission. So in this ministerial order, there are what is not allowed and what are allowed and also it gives the modality on best practice in air quality management, including also the penalties for those who does not comply with these air pollution laws. So we have the national standard which aim in controlling air pollution. So we have the LS East African Standard of 750 of 2010. This is for emission by cement factory and to set the limit of pollutant emitted by the cement factories. So we have an LS of ESS vehicle emission testing, the on-road one. So we have also the standard on emission limit on performance evaluation on road vehicles, among others. So this one is applicable for imported cars and to give the emission limits on imported and new and used cars. So among those activities, we have the day air quality monitoring. So far, we have 21 air quality monitoring stations countrywide with a one reference station, so which make it 22 air quality monitoring stations. So these air quality monitoring systems gives a real-time information on the status of air quality to the public, and it is provided via a mobile app and on our REMA website, so which is there, the aq.rema.gov.rwa. So when you Google it, you can see the real-time air quality index. So this is how our dashboard looks. So those are in red, green, and yellow, our stations countrywide. So those are the operators of the station on duty. So this one is the picture below is our reference station, which is located at Gitega at Meteo head office. So among those activities, so those are the on-road vehicle emission testing we do with our Rwanda National Police. We have also the Rwanda National Police Inspection Center. This is one of also the success we have done in air quality management, and each car must comply with our standard to pass the test on our National Inspection Center. So the other government effort in air quality management include the promotion of public transport, the vehicle maintenance and inspection program. We have installation of automatic traffic management system known as traffic light. So this one to easy or the transport. So we have adopted a low sulfide fuel on EAC level. We have promoted also non-motorized transport. Bicycle lane are put in along the road, and encouragement of pedestrian ways. Pedestrian and the city of Kigali in particular has put in the pedestrian ways on all roads. So we have car-free zones and car-free days. Tax waiver for electric vehicles. We are accelerating the adoption of all available alternatives for clean cooking solutions. So those are the e-vehicles and the fewer motorbike which are being retrofitted into electric batteries. So as one of the initiative to cut off the air pollution. So these are the other initiatives which are going to be put in place. We have the first approach have been started. So the most emitting car now must comply with our national standard on emission limit and reduce the use of old vehicles. Imported fuel vehicles are required to meet the Euro 4 standard. The government also has started the diversification of different grades of fuel, so as the quality of fuel also play a key role on air pollution. We have upgrading of petroleum testing laboratory, which is in Ilula by now. Promotion of renewable energy for cooking, so LPG. All big and small industries have been relocated from residential area to special economic zone as per the RNU DPM 2020-2050. Going forward, each emitting industry also is required to have a regular reporting framework and monitoring system in place. So those are the registered success the government of Rwanda has done in air pollution prevention and air quality management. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Celeste. It's a pity they've taken off the last picture before we could use it to encourage all participants leaving here. Feel free to pick a Gura Ride bike on your way out and ride back to office instead of entering a very nice V8 and driving back to office and polluting the air. Thank you very much for that, Celeste. It's very good to hear and to see all the amazing things that REMA has championed on behalf of the government of Rwanda. Looking at the fact that we already have a regulatory framework, we have national standards, so the policy, the strategies, the initiatives are already in place. We've seen interesting initiatives that other countries are aspiring to emulate. The establishment of car-free zones, the prioritization of NMT infrastructure, all of this aimed at improving the air quality around us. I think he emphasized once again the importance of real-time and accurate data. The fact that this data is what is informing them on the type of pollution, times of pollution. If you're the kind of person who likes to hike, to camp, to walk, to run, you can actually check the air quality website and confirm that the area you're going to run to has a good air quality standard on that day. I like the fact that he emphasized the different types of pollution, the fact that we have particulate matters as an issue. We have seasonal air quality, so that means during the dry season we have higher pollution. What can we do to combat that collectively as stakeholders here moving forward? I like that he introduced that Rwanda National Police is always looking out for us. If it's not speed limit, you're also involved in ensuring that we don't have to face the issues of air pollution. So that is truly appreciated as a key stakeholder and partner of REMA. I think as we move to the next section of our day, I'd like to once again emphasize something that Celeste's presentation started with. Human activities are the main cause of air pollution. At the back of our minds, we should all remember that it's all human activity. We cannot blame it on climate change. We cannot blame it on other issues. Any air pollution, sound pollution is a factor without uncertainty of human activities. Vehicular emission, industrial emission, cooking with wood and charcoal, as well as improper management of waste. Let us keep this at the back of our minds as we look for a collective and collaborative solutions to addressing air pollution. Our next section of the day, we will be breaking for a coffee session. We are now at 10:30. I will kindly request, in the interest of keeping time, that we do not exceed 10:40. no, 10:30, for 10:50. If we can kindly pick a coffee, pick a snack, and then use this time to walk through the exhibition at the back. You'll have the privilege to see some of our exhibitors who are sharing with us their innovative solutions and technologies. We have with us Spiro, which is an e-mobility company focusing on motorcycles. We have Green Pack, which is focusing on clean cooking with volcanic rocks and solar power, quite innovative. We have Coco Network, a company that's introducing bioethanol as clean fuel for cooking. Once again, that's quite innovative. We have Park Lane, that is launching modern, privately run emissions inspection centers throughout Rwanda, which means at some point you can drive in and check your vehicle to make sure that you're actually meeting the allowable emission standards. We have Genius Environmental Limited, a company that aims to assist industries and businesses to comply with air quality and environmental regulations. And last but not least, we have Rwanda Electric Moto, which is retrofitting conventional vehicles with battery systems to transition to e-vehicles. This is a very interesting exhibition at the back there. Please do not miss the chance to walk through and understand what you can contribute, what you can learn, and what you can take away from our different exhibitors. With that said, please welcome to a quick coffee, and during that time, use it to also visit our exhibition. We'll be back at 10:50 top. Thank you very much. time, please allow me to kindly request you to pick a coffee, a snack, and then come back into the room. We'll be proceeding with a short video on Rwanda's initiatives to overcome air pollution, a call for action. Thereafter, we will have a panel discussion. We can all revisit the exhibition after the panel discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, if we can kindly take our seats, the team that's in charge of protocol, please start to usher our participants back to their seats. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, As I indicated when we were taking off for our coffee break and a visit to the exhibition, we will be starting the next session of our event with a short video on Rwanda's initiatives to overcome air pollution, a call for action. I hope we still have our participants online. Do we still have our participants online? Let's confirm that they're still connected to us before we start with the video. Thereafter, we'll have a panel discussion on strategic partnerships towards air quality improvement in Rwanda. Do we have our colleagues online? Okay, yeah. Please go ahead and play the short video, and then I'll be calling the panelists forward. Thank you.
Poor air quality is considered the world's single largest environmental health risk. Around the world, 99% of people breathe polluted air. In Rwanda, most people breathe air that is slightly outside or within safe limits. But there are some places where air pollution is especially bad and we need to protect ourselves. Most air pollution in Rwanda comes from vehicle emissions in urban areas and from cooking with wood or charcoal. But studies show that air pollution is greatly reduced during holidays and car-free days, showing us that we have the solutions. Breathing bad quality air has a big impact on our health. According to the Ministry of Health, respiratory diseases related to air pollution were the leading cause of morbidity in Rwanda, accounting for almost a quarter of all deaths in 2019. To address air pollution, Rwanda has a number of initiatives to improve the quality of the air. We are transitioning to clean cooking, promoting electric vehicles, encouraging people to use non-motorized transport, as well as promoting car-free days across the country. Rwanda also has an air quality monitoring system that provides real-time data on the quality of the air at 23 sites across the country. Despite the progress made, air pollution remains a problem for Rwanda and the world at large. That's why it's time to work together. Here are 5 things you can do today to beat air pollution. Number 1 is switch from cooking with wood or charcoal to electricity or gas. Number 2, leave the car at home and instead walk, cycle or take public transport. Number 3, make sure your car is regularly serviced to ensure it's running efficiently. Number 4, avoid burning agricultural waste and instead use it as fertilizer. And number 5, never burn rubbish, but rather ensure it is disposed properly. By taking simple steps in our daily lives, we can all breathe easier and ensure a healthy future for all who call Rwanda home. Together for clean air.
Thank you very much for that very interesting video. 5 things to do: clean cooking, so go away from charcoal cooking. I want to know how many of you are still cooking with charcoal and firewood in your homes. Show of hands, who has shifted to LPG or solar or bioethanol? Who is still cooking with charcoal? Even beans can be cooked on gas. Let's see, show of hands. Come on, I'll teach you. Leave the car at home. Cycle, take public transport, carpool. If you have a neighbor that's going to the same area that you're going, share a vehicle so that you reduce the amount of pollution. Ensure to regularly service your vehicles. We don't need the Rwanda National Police to remind us to service our vehicles so that we don't cause air pollution. Compost instead of burning your organic waste. There's advantages to composting the waste. It means your kitchen garden can also benefit from good organic manure as well. And last but not least, make sure you dispose of your rubbish appropriately, recycle, reuse, instead of burning. Because when you burn your rubbish, you're polluting the air. That said, please allow me to invite our panelists. We have a very interesting panel session. The panelists are here to share with us the different role that each of these institutions play. They are representative, except for Rema, who's the anchor of all the work that we're doing here today. They're representatives of different institutions that contribute in different aspects to combating air pollution. I will start with the Deputy Director General of Rema, Faustin Munyazikwiye. He will be representing Rema and will share mostly on regulations, enforcement, and how we can enhance collaboration and awareness. Next, I'll be inviting Professor Wilfred Ndifon. He's from the Africa Institute of Mathematical Sciences in Rwanda, AIMS, most of you should know. He'll be focusing on the impact or the role of education and research and ongoing research initiative solutions that AIMS is championing. Last but not least, and bringing in a gender balance to the panel, we are introducing Mrs. Sonali Chauhan. I hope I've pronounced your name right. She's the Senior Program Associate for Coco Networks Rwanda. She'll be introducing the company and sharing with us their new and innovative technology. Once again, those who don't believe you can cook beans without charcoal, she's going to show us how we can do it. And she's going to emphasize the importance or the impact of clean cooking solutions. Thereafter, we will have an interactive session of Q&A. Please feel free to ask as many questions as you can. During the Q&A, I will kindly request participants to keep it brief. You'll introduce yourself and then ask your short and precise question so that the panelists can also use as limited a time to respond to you as well. Thank you. Microphones, please. Thank you very much, panelists, for making the time to share your knowledge, your information, and all the amazing work that you're doing in your respective organizations. Please allow me to start with DDG Faustin. We've heard quite a lot about the regulations and standards and several initiatives that you have put in place as a government or as a custodian of the government that is in charge with combating air pollution. Would like to interestingly understand how has government worked together with the private sector to implement effective air quality regulations and standards?
Thank you very much, moderator, for the good question. How government is working with the private sector to implement various regulations and standards we have. That's very interesting. The first move we have done is to set those regulations and standards. But the process of setting regulations and standards, it has been an inclusive journey where we worked with various business owners. When you want to regulate an industry, there is no way you can set standards without involving industry owners. There is no way you can set standards of vehicles if you don't involve vehicle manufacturers or sellers so that they can understand and they can contribute to what is realistic and feasible depending to our economy and also depending to where we are heading. That's one. The involvement of private sector in setting standards and regulations is very key, and we walked that journey together. I can testify. Second, after setting standards, we start awareness raising and capacity building. Awareness raising is specifically for the general public, because we are setting standards for saving lives, for reducing vulnerability of our citizens. So we raise awareness for the public, and we also raise awareness for users of those technology which are being regulated through those regulations and standards. Apart from raising awareness, we work together to develop the capacity. We have various tools we are using to assess or to measure the certain levels. But actually, or getting those tools like mobile testers is one thing, but using them regularly, calibrating them, we need a hand-in-hand collaboration between government agencies, namely Rwanda Standard Board, and various users. That's also one area of capacity building, but also we need to build the capacity. When we are saying the minimum level of emissions, when we are saying for vehicles, Euro 4, what's the meaning of Euro 4? So we need private sector, apart from vehicle sellers and vehicle owners, but also different, and the public need to know when you are talking about Euro 4, what is it? So that was the second area of collaboration, which is awareness and capacity building. Last but not least is how do we create a conducive environment of doing business in this. That's where incentives, incentivizing various technology on the side of the government is very crucial. But how do you wake up in the morning and give incentives? First of all, you need to see the interests of private sector. They need to manifest, to express that interest that we want to partner in this journey, but this is the challenge we have. This is the impediment we have. Please, if you can at least work with us on this, then it will be very easy to deploy that technology. So that's also number 3, incentivizing technology, so that while we are enforcing the laws, while we are enforcing standards, we make sure that they must have the adequate technology which is responding to the regulations and standards in place. Otherwise, we'll be just policing people and thinking that we are enforcing the laws, but in actual sense, if no one is complying, it means that there is something wrong. Either the standard you set is not feasible, or people are not just buying it because there is something wrong. So those are the 3 key areas where government is partnering with the private sector to do the enforcement. Last but not least, we encourage them to do self-monitoring. I can testify with our colleagues from different industries here present. We encourage them to do self-monitoring so that once an inspector comes, they can immediately show, this is how I've been performing, this is how I've been progressing. Oh, yes, we still have this challenge, but this is the status. And then for us, we come and we inspect. If you find something, well and good. But we encourage them to be to do self-monitoring so that they don't get surprise. Once I come and I close the factory, I don't like to close the factory because you are paying the tax, and I'm getting the salary from those tax. You are giving jobs for different citizens, but I don't have any interest in closing or in penalizing you. So the self-monitoring is the key solution to avoid that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, DDG. I think you've created a perfect segue to our next panelist, Professor Wilfred. The DDG highlighted the importance of developing the right capacities, encouraging or incentivizing the right technologies and solutions, and then encouraging self-monitoring when it comes to private sector. To be able to do this, we've got to have the technical know-how, the technical skill sets and capacities. So what is AIMS as an academic institution contributing in terms of research, innovation, as well as training and preparing the workforce to be equipped to qualify or to contribute to these initiatives, whether it's through capacity of the staff, whether it is through the technologies? What is AIMS contributing in this case? Thank you.
Thanks for the question, and thank you for inviting AIMS to this panel. So AIMS exists in Rwanda since 2016. We started with a center in Remera, which is training young people, 30% of whom are Rwandese, at least 30% of whom are women, in the mathematical sciences. And why mathematical sciences? Because in all the high technologies that you hear about, whether technologies for monitoring air quality, there's mathematics inside. And I'll mention several ways in which we're building capacity, not just to develop this technology, but to use them effectively. So we're training students from across the continent, and there's a good number of whom are from this country, about 60 students every year. And we've been doing this since 2016, and they've gone on to work in different sectors. Recently, as from the 1st of July this year, we opened a second center. And that center is focused on research and innovation. And there are three specific areas I want to mention that are the foci of the center, and that's data science, quantum science, and modeling, so mathematical modeling. Now, if you want to build a sensor to measure the amount of air pollutants that you have in air, you need to understand certain principles by which these technologies work. And that's really quantum physics. So we work to develop the understanding of young people in these core ideas, these core principles, these core capabilities that would allow them to build new technologies to improve on the existing technologies. Secondly, if you have a technology, you make a measurement, it gives you an output, but what does that output mean? Typically, technologies, they do something called a mapping. So I have an input. Maybe I'm interested in knowing the amount of fine particulate matter, maybe PM2.5. That's the input that's in the air. My technology gives me an output. The challenge is to know what that output tells me about the input. So to do this, you basically need to reverse engineer this mapping process, this mapping from input to output. And so you need mathematics. And that is what our mathematical modelers are doing, both students and researchers. Maybe I've talked too much. Building technologies, interpreting the technologies, and also using the output, the data, to inform decisions. So data is not information. How do you really derive insights from data? So we're training, really building capacity in all these areas. And we're doing this at the master's and the PhD levels. And so I'll tell you just one example of what we're doing. So we do research and innovation really is about translating the science we do to create socioeconomic value, to make impact in society. And so one of the projects along these lines that we embarked on some months ago is with the support of REMA, in fact, in collaboration with REMA, to enhance the monitoring of air quality in Kigali. So currently we have 10 stations stationary that are monitoring air quality in different parts of Kigali, and the sites were chosen with the help of REMA to represent different living arrangements and different sources of air pollution that are known in the city. And we have 100 of these monitors that are rotating across the city, also guided by information we're getting from REMA. And so what would this do? Well, this contributes to already the excellent efforts that are being made in the country to ensure that we understand what's the quality of the air in the places where we live, in the places where we work, because that's going to inform decisions about how to improve the quality of life. Also, another thing we want to address, so you'd see some global assessments of air quality in different cities across the world. A lot of this is based on satellite data. It's not of a very sufficient resolution. So it's not as good as what you would measure at these 23 stations that have been talked about. But satellite data is more easily accessible. So you can have it in villages where you don't have stations. So how do we calibrate the satellite data so that it can tell us what the air quality is in places where we don't have ground stations? So this requires, again, mathematical modeling, and this is something we are working on.
Okay.
Another step is how do we attribute, so how do you properly attribute the causes of particular air quality measurements that you get, but also effects. So what are the effects on health, on different health conditions? So all of this requires research, it requires capacity, and we are working with developing the capacity of young people. The monitoring project I mentioned, they are being led by 3 young Rwandese. They started at AIMS as master students. They took on this project, ran with it, and we upgraded them to PhD students. So they will become leading experts in this area in future, and also in turn build capacity of others, both from Rwanda and other parts of the continent.
Thank you very much, Professor Wilfred. That's very encouraging to hear that we are growingly creating a pool of experts across the continent and in Rwanda, specifically looking at how we can use data to inform initiatives, to inform decisions, how we can calibrate different forms of data to be able to understand what are the causes of pollution, what are the impacts of pollution, and how can we best address this. I liked the fact that you highlighted that all your work is geared at impact on society, the impact on socioeconomic status of the society. And that brings me to Mrs. Sonali. If you can kindly introduce your company, Cocoa Networks Rwanda. We are aware that you're pioneering a very innovative solution, the use of bioethanol for clean cooking in Rwanda. Share with us what your journey has been, where you started, what you intend to do, how you intend to scale up across the Rwanda, and the potential impact of your innovation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, first of all, and for allowing us to showcase our innovative technology to this esteemed audience and my esteemed panel. So we are Cocoa Networks. We are a renewable fuel utility that harnesses the power of carbon finance to make clean cooking affordable for households that are relying on deforestation fuels like charcoal and firewood, which approximately is 85% of the households in Rwanda. We started in Kenya, our origins are in Kenya, and we are now in 1 million households in Kenya, so that's approximately 4 million consumers. we signed an agreement with the government of Rwanda last year to scale the solution in Rwanda. And we will be launching in Q4 of 2023. We are very excited to start in Kigali and urban centers and scale to nationwide expansion as we continue in Rwanda. Our tech footprint is the most similar to, I would say, mobile telco operators. So we basically have an interconnected web of smart devices that work together to deliver bioethanol fuel to consumers for a seamless customer experience. We leverage existing liquid fuel storage at petrol stations to store ethanol in underground tanks. Our network of smart micro tankers that have a capacity of around 3,500 to 5,500 liters. So these micro tankers go to petrol stations where they refuel with ethanol. And then these tankers distribute ethanol to fuel ATMs that are located in corner shops in neighborhoods, in residential neighborhoods. These corner shops are mostly run by women who are embedded in the local community. They have had these shops for years. They know the community really well. They're often also selling other types of fuel. They're often also selling FMCG goods and food groceries. So these are shops that have consistent footfall and very good reputation in the neighborhood. And therefore, we leverage that by making the shops our entrepreneurial partners. Therefore, making these women our entrepreneurial partners who then sell our solution to the local community. They become the point of not just the cooker and the canister sale, but also the point of refuel. And they're the ones who are often the most vocal cheerleaders of our product because they themselves are users. They themselves have seen that when you burn bioethanol, it burns with a clean blue flame. Even LPG is extremely clean, but even when you burn LPG, sometimes you have yellow flame. But in this case, we have a clean blue flame for the most part that burns with a similar efficiency at its highest setting to LPG. And one of the ways that we're also, related to clean air is that mostly the people doing the cooking at home are women and de facto the children around them. And they're the ones who are breathing the toxic air released from charcoal, from firewood. And so by placing bioethanol in these homes, we're addressing a very, very pertinent, as has been highlighted by everyone here, we're addressing a very pertinent public health, I would say public health travesty in the modern world that our women and children have to go through.
Thank you very much. Quite interesting to see that you've thought through the entire value chain and not just the production of the innovative technology or solution, but that you've seen how you can get it from production to the end user with the ease of access. I'd like to come back to the DDG real quick before I open up to a Q&A session from the participants. This is a very good example of what you highlighted earlier, doing business, the fact that you're creating the enabling environment, creation of awareness, and collaboration with different stakeholders. How would you typically, like you said, you are working very closely with private sector, how would you typically, say, collaborate with a company such as Cocoa Network to create their awareness around their innovative solutions, productions, and that's Cocoa Networks and everybody else we have here exhibiting. Give us some ways in which you have tangibly contributed to the creation of awareness. Thank you.
Thank you very much, moderator, for the good question. Collaboration with the private sector, with the specific people who have technology, who have solutions, is very easy, but it has where to start. Where it should start is to changing the mindset of people. it's all about, when we are talking about raising awareness, it's all about changing the mindset of people. How do we change the mindset of people? We need just to show them what are they gaining if they shift from this one to this one. Just a simple example, Rema bought a hybrid car. I think it's now 3 years. Looking at the price now today, the Land Cruiser Prado is around 90 million, including tax. If it is tax-free, it's around 57, 58 million. So, taking an example of buying a hybrid car which is tax-free, a car which you would buy 90 million, you are going to buy it to 50-something million. That's one example. The second, the consumption. The car we have, the Mitsubishi we have in Rema, if we compare what is consuming and what the existing Prado we have are consuming, from here to Rusizi and come back, the Prado we have is consuming around 80 liter, which is around 115,000 Rwandan francs. Comparing to hybrid car we have, from here to Rusizi and come back is consuming around 45 liters, which is around 73,000. So it's almost half. And that's one trip. How many trips do you make per month? How many trips do you make per year? So those are figures which we need to show people so that they can understand the importance of shifting. So I was talking about the changing mindset of people, so that the the private operators who are bringing in solutions, who are bringing in technology like Coco Network and others, they found that we have already laid the foundation. People, they understand the benefits of shifting from this technology to this one, then it will be very quick to adopt those technology. That's one. Second, after changing mindset of people, the second is access to finance. How do we de-risk their investment? Everyone is saying, okay, accessing clean technology is expensive than the business as usual. I agree. The upfront cost is very high. But if you add the upfront cost and the maintenance cost, is the clean technology still high? Still expensive? I don't think so. But we need to work with the financing institutions so that we can create the incentive I've been talking about. We need to diversify various products which can attract citizens, and indeed which can attract investors to invest in the clean technology. Taking an example of the recent created Ireme Invest, which is a private sector fund or facility for green investment, which is operated by Fonerwa and BRD. If you can see how you are getting a grant from FONERWA, from our National Green Fund, to develop the idea and populate it. Then from there, you go and you get a loan, a subsidized loan at the cheaper interest rate from BRD. That's the way to go. If we don't do that, then Cocoa and others who are bringing new technology, they will not attract people to shift from their business as usual. Everyone needs changes are always not welcome in our nature. But how do we show the added value of shifting from one point to another? So the first one is the changing mindset of people. The second one is access to finance and de-risking their investment. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for that intervention, DDG. Allow me at this point, before I come back to our panelists with a few follow-up questions, I'd like to open up to our participants. Anybody who would like to make a comment, ask a question, raise your hand, and our protocol team will come around with a microphone. As I said earlier, introduce yourself, your name, your institution, and your role at the institution, and quickly, briefly share your question or input. Let's keep it brief so that we can hear from as many people as possible within the time we have. All right. Okay, great. I'm informed that we have our very esteemed partners from the Rwanda National Police and University of Rwanda, who will be starting our Q&A session with some interventions on what their role has been to support the government of Rwanda's initiatives in combating air pollution. So maybe I'll start with the Rwanda National Police. Once again, we acknowledge the extensive effort that they make to ensure our health and safety. We've shifted from speed limits and now we are on air pollution. Please do share with us what your progress has been so far in vehicle emission testing, with the emphasis on vehicle emissions standards as established in Rwanda. What challenges are you facing? What successes have you faced so far, or have you managed to achieve so far? Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Chief Superintendent Bernardin Sengyumva. I'm Deputy Commissioner of Automobile Inspection Department in Rwanda National Police. So currently we have 4 centers for automobile inspection. We have one in Kigali City. We have another one in Rwamagana, in Musanze and Huye. So we have 4 centers. We also have a mobile test lane, which can be used where for those who are not near the fixed centers. For each center, in Kigali City, you have one center with 5 lanes. 5 lanes means there are some lanes for heavy-duty vehicles and other lanes for small vehicles. And in tutorial unit, we have 2 lanes for each center. For each lane has machine to test emission. Emission for diesel vehicles and for petrol vehicles. And the mobile test lane also have the mobile emission tester. So we test them regularly, the vehicles. For the vehicles for passengers and transport, they come after 6 months for inspection. And for private vehicle, they come after 1 year for testing emission vehicles. So even if we test the vehicles, the emission, but we advise also owners of the vehicles to regularly make the service of the vehicles, changing the fuel regularly, because it also, when they don't do it, they cause emission, the problem of the emission. That's why we advise them for the maintenance, for general and simple service, and after they come for inspection regularly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Afande. Quick follow-up on that. I know that in the region in Africa, we have a lot of government or national police or let's say organizations similar to REMA that have failed to implement a successful vehicle inspection system as you have here in Rwanda. What would you share as your successes? What has made it possible for you to actually encourage compliance, to get people to get their vehicles inspected, their vehicles serviced? What has been your success story in this case?
Thank you very much. So we also have sometimes the visitors from different countries to visit us in the center, and we show what we do, and then they are happy of what we are doing, and they told us they are going to just do it in the countries. That's what we do. And then that we mobilize the people on the radio, television, maybe the foreigners also follow how we do the inspection. And also, sometimes there is a meeting in the East African community where we meet and we discuss about the inspection of the vehicles.
Okay. Thank you very much for that intervention. It comes back once again to what you shared, DDG, community awareness, outreach, aimed at behavioral change and mindset change as well. Thank you very much for that intervention. I'd like to take this opportunity to also invite our collaborators and colleagues from the University of Rwanda. We've heard from AIMS on some of the work that they're doing in terms of innovation, research to combat air pollution. If I may kindly invite Dr. Kabera to please... oh, sorry. Okay, I may have, okay, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Allow me to invite you to introduce yourself first and then make your interventions kindly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kabera, who is an expert actually in this field. I just want to introduce on the broader picture of the University of Rwanda that to contribute this issue of energy and air pollution, in partnership with the government of Rwanda, of course, as a public institution, we host the Center of Excellence in Renewable in Energy for Sustainable Development, which actually has a wing called the Grid Innovation Incubation Hub, which has a set of support systems for innovators to produce energy solutions, which also address the issue of air pollution. So we have already several products which have been coming out from that innovation, but there are other support systems in terms of promoting research, and that's where Kabera will share, particularly in air pollution, both indoor and outdoor. So we're happy to be part of this conference, and the University of Rwanda has the intention to be a research-led university. We have also a monitoring research center, which is hosted and been established in partnership with MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which makes more available infrastructure for monitoring not only the air, but also the high atmospheric gases, which is somehow contribute to that thematic area. So my colleague Kabera will intervene to be more specific on the issue of air pollution. So I will invite him to contribute. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. It's quite interesting to understand that I know of the Center of Excellence for Biodiversity, so it's good to learn of the Center of Excellence for Renewable Energy for Sustainable Renewable Energy. Those of you who are hearing this for the first time, like me, it's a good opportunity to start reassessing your area of interest. Maybe you can go back and innovate. Maybe you can go back and learn from what the University of Rwanda is trying to do in terms of research and innovation. Thank you very much for that intervention. Dr. Kabera, anything to add?
Yeah, thank you. And we are happy to be part of this. On research-wise, we have three projects. We have where we are collaborating with a lot of universities. We have one project which is called Sustainable Bioenergy, Waste Management, and Air Pollution Control in Rwanda. So we have a PhD student who is mainly concentrating on indoor air pollution. He's working with people from Bugesera and Ngoma. So we are collaborating with these three universities from Sweden. And then we have a second project where we are collaborating with Birmingham University. So in that project, we also concentrate on indoor air pollution, but we are trying to build something new. You know, when we talk about like those PM 2.5, etc., we don't know the source. So we are trying to build a sensor whereby we can, you know, it's just an idea. You know, research, you start by, you know, you're not sure if it is going to work, but we are going to build a sensor whereby you can know which source that you are getting that air pollution. So that is second project. And then we have the third project whereby we are collaborating with the Carnegie Mellon from USA. That one, we are going to do, you know, a emissions inventory. And also, probably I can add on what my principal was saying. We have that Center of Energy for Sustainable Development, but also we have the Center of IoT, Internet of Things, whereby you have also students who are working on building low-cost sensors, which can be affordable and adaptable here. And you know, we don't concentrate only on indoor air pollution. You see, our projects are touching outdoor and indoor air pollution. And also we have a PhD, a postdoc student who is in Canada, also working on air pollution. He has published some papers on this car-free day. You can go online. When you write names, you can know what we are doing. We have published a lot of papers. Last year I shared papers because I presented last year during the same event. Okay. And we did not stop. We kept trying. We are still publishing. Another thing, probably you are aware of, we have masters, which is called atmospheric physics. And that one is concentrating on air pollution. And also in our programs, we have undergraduate, which is called environmental engineering, whereby students are working on air pollution and also waste management mainly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much for those interventions, Dr. Kabera. As the audience begins, okay, great, we have a few interventions ready. I was about to ask Professor Wilfred to share with us their ongoing collaborative work with CAC and REMA on the National Short-Lived Climate Pollutants Plan and National Methane Roadmap, but I'll come back to you after we've had a few interventions.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sandeep. I work for Steel Rava Industries here. We are the biggest recycler. We recycle all kinds of metal and we produce the iron bars, which are very important for the construction industry. We are also, with the support of REMA, we have taken a lot of initiatives on, the air quality controls. Back from India, I just want to share a success story. I come from a place called Indore. Indore is the 5th time the cleanest city in India. 5th time. And it has become a habit now. Sonali must be knowing. So as DDG said, it's a change of mindset. So I just want to give one more suggestion to you, sir, that in Indore, what we are doing, they are even segregating the waste which is coming out of the houses. So they have got the dry waste and the wet, the like vegetables and all that. And they are making with this wet garbage, they are making compost manure and they are selling. And whatever is coming out of our houses, 90% of the material has been recycled. So it's a classic example because now Rwanda is also growing, population is growing. So like in metal, what we do, we have made a huge platform now to segregate the waste because scrap comes from all kinds of places. So the right kind of scrap, if it goes inside the furnace, the less will be the emission. So I suggest, if Rwanda government can make some arrangement and visit Indore and see their waste management process, it will be very good for our country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandeep. Any other interventions? Questions? Yes, please.
Thank you. My name is Alice. I'm the managing director of a company called Geni Green Solutions, manufacturer of cookstoves and environment-friendly cooking fuel. My question goes to Cocoa Company. Yeah, I'd like to know the upfront of the bioethanol cooking equipment, but also I'd like to know how clean is the whole process of production, because sometimes we offer half solutions. Maybe it's good for indoor air pollution, but then what about the production, the transportation stages? How clean are they? Another question goes to the DDG of LEMA. You talked about adaptation of standards. I've seen that the standards were more about factories and vehicles, but I didn't see anything to do with cooking energy. And yet we know that a quota of deaths actually are related to indoor pollution, especially women and young kids cooking in their homes. So do you have any standard about that? And secondly, you talked about awareness and training. So far in Rwanda, we know that 80% of households depend on firewood as their cooking fuel. And I know there are some small practices you can just, train people about or create awareness about them, such as maybe using like very dry wood, or just training about ventilation of the kitchen. Those are very small practices, but that can make, change a lot in the lives of the families as we wait to totally shift to some clean cooking solutions like LPG and all that, and many others. And my last question goes to the UR. He has been talking about indoor air pollution. I wanted to hear more about that project. What is it about? And how does the private sector benefit from your research, the research you're doing today? I'm more interested because what I do, it's mainly combating the indoor air pollution through providing clean cooking solutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those interesting questions and interventions. We'll take one last participant before I come back to the panelists. None? Okay. Great. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'm called Aloysia Ndabavunye. I'm from Rwanda Standard Boards. I'm in charge of standard for environmental protection. I have a comment on what have been said by the panelists, and I can also say something about what the last speaker for the clean stove and cooking solution has mentioned. Someone have mentioned about the applicability of standards. What I can say on behalf of Rwanda Standard Board, there is a loom in the standard development process where a standard is not applicable to users. There is a loom of modification, review, or amendment. So by here, I want to mention that whenever a standard is in place and it is not friendly, applicable to users, they have to collaborate or to communicate to Rwanda Standard Board to take the appropriate action. Concerning what have been mentioned by the DDG of LEMA about the awareness for standards and the regulation, I can say on the side of standard, Rwanda Standard Board currently is providing the awareness, training, and technical assistance on standards. Most of the time, the private sector companies, they are asking for RISB for those technical assistance and awareness or training. And few government institutions also are requesting those training. So by here, as it have been mentioned, the government institutions have to conjugate effort in awareness in different sectors. What I can say here, for example, for government institutions here present, they have to play a big role, if I can say, in communicating to the actors under their mission or vision to what can be done in order to raise those awareness about standard use, for example. I don't know if you are informed, for example, in this last 3 months, there have been awareness in all secondary cities about for example, the use of standard for construction materials, namely called Rukarakara. It is not, or it can have a relation about air quality, but even not, there is no relation, but here, by there, I want to mention that awareness are done, and what is needed it is to collaborate or a collaboration of government institutions to raise those awareness, and they can reach most of population. About the application of standards, most of the time it can happen, but this is maybe due to the fact that the users are not paying a big role in standard development, and this is not the intention of Rwanda Standard Board. They are called to participate in standard development because they are actors. They have the real situation which is on the ground, so they can contribute much a lot in standard development, and this, the problem of not being applicable can be resolved by there. Okay. My previous speaker have asked about the standard about stoves and cooking. I can say that we have some standards, and she or any other.
This is an opportunity for you to collaboratively and collectively leave this special forum today when you've shared the standards, and welcome her to be a part of the work that you're doing at Rwanda Standards Board.
Oh, of sure.
Yeah.
And on the side of RISB, we are committed to play our role in awareness, technical assistance, and training about standard use. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much for those very insightful interventions. I think Rwanda Standards Board, you're emphasizing what Rema has said already. Directly and indirectly, all the different standards you put in place contribute to one initiative or the other. when you're dealing with construction material, you are responding to air pollution, because how we produce our construction material is very critical to air pollution as well. I like the fact that you've emphasized that we have standards in place for energy, for clean cooking. So please do take the time to meet each other and share the information you have. So I'll start with the DDG. Maybe you can respond to inputs from our participants.
Thank you very much, moderator. I have just one question on the standards of cook stoves. We have them, and they are available in Rwanda Standard Board. They are testing. We have also established a laboratory for testing the thermal efficiency of the cook stoves. We used to have a big challenge of so-called improved cook stoves, and we didn't know even how to select which is improved and which is not improved cook stove. So now, with the support of REMA and the Ministry of Environment, Rwanda Standard Board has now a full-fledged laboratory for testing thermal efficiency, but they also have standards so that they can test against those standards. Then for some minor issues which you need to change, as you highlighted, like using dry firewoods and others. We have been having some few examples like soaking beans before cooking them so that it can reduce the time for cooking, and fuel you're using for cooking. There is also another practice. When we used to go to train in the rural areas, we used to tell them cooking all in one. Mu Kinyarwanda ni imvange. When you mix beans and Irish potatoes and vegetables, you just cook once. But there is also a way you can cook 4 types separately, and you consume a lot. So those are a few things which you can do, but as you said, we need to change the mindset. We need to look at those few small things for as quick fix, and also we need to tackle those big things. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that intervention, DDG. I'll just come back to the recommendation that was made by Sandeep. Yes, we are learning from across the globe on waste management practices, but I think the government of Rwanda has significantly advanced in terms of the waste value chain, sorting, recycling at source, and there are several other ongoing projects that are geared at responding to that as well. But thank you for making the recommendation and the comment that we should learn from your hometown. Over to you, if you can share your inputs on the entire value chain of bioethanol as an alternative energy. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the questions. So related to upstream, this is a really good question. It's a very insightful question, right? Like, you have many different clean cooking solutions, and when you peel off the layers, is it actually clean? I think that's the basis of your question. So the one thing is that we source 50% of our ethanol, we try to source from the local sugar industry. So it's actually from molasses, which is a byproduct of the sugar industry. And so we're actually generating additional value in an industry that is already boosting the incomes of agriculture, laborers and agriculture industries across East Africa. The other thing is related to distribution. We are aware of challenges in introducing green, especially green trucking infrastructure. to not just East Africa, but actually across the world, there is a challenge of greening logistics infrastructure. And we remain committed to being at the forefront of adopting as well as introducing green technology. So I think that with green mobility advances made in Rwanda, it's extremely impressive to see how fast the pace of green green adoption is happening. And I think COCO would love to partner with green mobility partners to green our fleet.
Thank you very much for that. Dr. Kabera, if you can respond to the value or the benefit of your research for the private sector. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I like your questions because really we are not doing a lot with the private sector, which should be the case actually. For a specific question, when she asked about what we do with indoor air pollution, the first thing we measure the pollution, and then we also recommend how they should be reduced. And for the information, as DDG said, we have a lot of cook stoves, but always when I meet my colleagues from RSB, I ask them always, what is the best cook stove? If someone from who wants to buy, if she or he asked us, what is the best cook stove? I don't think we have got a response. But as University of Rwanda, we have given some research themes to topics to our students to compare, and then there we are going to collaborate with the RSB because they have been measuring, they have been testing all those cook stoves. And then second thing, as our person from REMA was presenting, he talked about all those PM 2.5 and what, but we did not see PM1, which is also critical, which is serious. So one of our students is concentrating, the one who is doing PhD. Her topic is clean cooking with biomass in household, development of improved stoves and novel fuels. Because always we talk about briquette, we talk about pellet, but we are trying to develop new novel fuels to be used. Yeah. Okay. And then I would like really to collaborate with you because I'm the one who is leading actually indoor air pollution. And also for the information, I'm the director for research and innovation at the College of Science and Technology. So, which means all projects, I'm aware of them, and then I can connect to anyone that whom you will like to collaborate with. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kabera. As we draw towards the conclusion of this panel session, I'd like to give a chance to each panelist to give their 1 minute takeaway from this day, from this forum, to our participants and to our those joining us virtually. Specific for Professor Wilfred, if you can also touch upon the work that you're doing as AIMS on the SLCP plan, as well as the methane roadmap. We didn't get a chance to hear from you on that. So if you can include that in your 1 minute takeaway. So please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us on the panel and allowing us to showcase green technology in Rwanda. I think one of my biggest takeaways from this panel is just reinforcement of the government of Rwanda's innovation spirit, as well as the spirit of collaboration with the private sector. I think, as both my esteemed panelists have pointed out, public and private goes hand in hand, and I think that nowhere in the world is that most evident than in Rwanda, than in what I've seen in Rwanda and the collaborative spirit of Rwanda.
Thank you very much. Professor Wilfred?
Thanks. I think it's been a very informative session. concerning the work we're doing with REMA, I think there is already a long-standing collaboration between AIMS and REMA, and the work on the national short-lived climate pollutants plan just builds on that. And for that, we really want to help create an integrated greenhouse gas and short-lived climate pollutants emissions inventory, and also develop emissions projections. Also look at mitigation assessments and the costs that those will entail. For the methane roadmap, we'll be doing assessments to understand where there are gaps in existing commitments and policies for methane mitigation, but also looking at priority measures that could be taken for mitigation, a cost-benefit analysis of those, and some of the institutional arrangements that would facilitate mitigation. In the medium to long term, we hope that this work would build capacity of the government of Rwanda to advance low carbon technologies. For example, the carbon capture and storage, advanced battery technology, sustainable transportation solutions. And so in the effect would be that this would promote clean air, and we know that this will have benefits for health. But also the technologies we hope would promote access to energy for all, and would create jobs across sectors. This again is building on our long-standing collaboration. One of the things I want to mention, earlier we talked about capacity building. Capacity building is not just through formal or formal institutional structures, but we also co-create with REMA, for example, what we call the Enhanced Climate Reporting Initiative, which is building the capacity of staff at REMA in a number of areas. For example, developing methodologies, so conforming with IPCC methodologies for doing greenhouse gas emission inventories, but also for doing mitigation assessments. So it's a pleasure for AIMS to be here. I think one of the takeaways would be the importance of collaboration. Public, private, public, so those are really important because the capacity, the country is really small, it's been punching above its weight in so many areas. And one of the reasons for this, I think the lack of friction or very low friction in terms of engaging with different stakeholders. And we hope at AIMS that that will continue.
Great. Thank you very much. DDG?
Thank you very much, moderator. As takeaway for all this panel discussion, as the theme of today, Together for Clean Air, we need really to understand the role of each one of us. We need to play, be it individual, be it a company, be it a private, be it a public institution. What is your stake? What is your role in this? Changing mindset is our aim for awareness. Building capacity and transfer technology is also second of our priority, but also creating a conducive environment for business so that we can adopt quick solutions and clean solutions is also another priority for us, which we can play for different angles we are coming from. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our dear panelists. To the audience, please allow me to kindly request you to join me in a hand of applause for our very interesting panelists. They've given us a very good session. Thank you, Ms. Sonali from COCO. Thank you, Professor Wilfred from AIMS. And as always, DDG from REMA. Thank you all for making a very interactive session. I'd also like to acknowledge our key discussants, CSP Bernardin Nsengiyumva and Dr. Gatare from the University of Rwanda, the principal of College of Science and Technology. We truly appreciate your taking the time to be here with us and to contribute to this interactive discussion. Thank you. Please take your seats. A round of applause once more, please. Let's appreciate our panelists and our key discussants. At this point, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you all for having made the time to be here, for actively participating. And as I do so, I'd like to take the opportunity to invite our Director General of REMA to kindly come and make her closing remarks. Thank you.
I'm on here. Please join me to appreciate Lillian for excellent moderation. She always does a great job, and God forbid we don't take this for granted at REMA. Yeah, thank you. That was great. At least I walked in when there is interaction, questions, and it was really interesting. Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, mine will be to again appreciate you for the participation, active participation. The intention of the organizing this forum was to actually bring everyone who is doing something on cleaning the air come together on this International Day, so we know who is doing what. I like the fact that private sector is saying, can we have the research come to us? You're demanding the right things, applied research. And then the fact that businesses are joining in to really understand what needs to be done. For ours is to, make sure that the coordination role is done, and we invite you always to have this dialogue. Again, to not to have duplication of, if you was working on some projects, there is no need as to why REMA should do the same thing. And there is no other way to avoid such duplication of efforts than us being on the same table and share what we are working on. So from that point of view, the forum has achieved its target. At least we now understand who is working on what. I think Ames did mention the pipeline project, or is it already happening? We are working on developing a plan, a national plan on short-lived climate pollutants, including the methane. All the air pollutants are short-lived. And we want to have them in a distinct way. So if you don't have the quantities, the sources, it's not so easy for us to get them managed. In a discussion we were having this morning, I think the journalists were interested in understanding where is the similarity and the differences between short-lived climate pollutants and global warming gases. We should be able to have that level of detail in order for us to have tailored management interventions. To the industries in the room, some of them are our colleagues, some of them we are not so good friends. We meet in enforcement and inspections, and that time the language is not so nice. You did this and we are penalizing you this way. But I think you got to appreciate as to why we go through all that sometimes not so interesting phase. We want to respond to the problem that was clearly elaborated and presented to you, not for only the good of us all, but for the good of us all, and especially the very vulnerable people who usually have no contribution into the pollution that we are sending to them. So by your presence here, it gives us, it's reassuring that you're committing to making sure that the pollution is tackled at source. All the practices, all the technology that you need to employ, please do employ them. We want to keep Rwanda, we want to keep Rwanda really a clean destination, less pollution in the air. I think that's when we are going to see more visitors coming our way. So let the collaborative spirit continue out of this room. Let's continue to collaborate. Let's continue to share information, especially if you have gotten like real new, data information. Please share it for us to be on the same page. With that, I wish you a fruitful afternoon. After this, I think we have lunch, right? Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, DG, for those kind closing remarks. Lunch is served. Our protocol team at the door will direct you to where the lunch is served. I will kindly request, especially after the interaction between private sector and RSB, private sector and University of Rwanda, and hearing feedback from the different players, private sector, I will kindly request everybody here as you go for lunch, look for 3 people you do not know. Don't go and sit with the person you see and meet every day. Look for 3 people you do not know, introduce yourself, introduce what you do, share your challenges, your successes. It'll be an opportunity to collaborate, because we're here to learn, to collaborate, and to have collective impact. So look for 3 people. I've made 3 people, 3 new friends. I have Jean from GIZ. I have Ms. Sonali from COCO. I met somebody else. And Professor Wilfred from AIMS. Those are my 3 new people. So please make sure during the lunch break, you take the time to get 3 new people, learn from them, seek opportunities for collaboration, and seek opportunities to contribute to combating air pollution. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.